Man, this thing had the nerve to say we live. Dangerous. Dangerous.
Oh my God.
Dangerous. The world don't even know what they have unleashed on the world.
This is crazy.
It's nuts.
Oh my God.
Man. Well, first of all, good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
You had the nerve.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The world don't even know what they have unleashed. Now I got to figure out, I got to mute it somewhere.
Uh-oh. What'd you mute?
There we go. There we go. I got it. I hit the mute on the stream on YouTube so that we don't have that double feedback. Hey, everyone. I'm going to introduce my guy, Darnell, in just a second. First of all, I just want to say good morning. Is it still morning? I don't know. Good morning. Unmic your mics. Students, if you're in the class, unmic your mics.
Good morning.
What up?
Yeah, unmic your mics. Let's get in here and say good morning. Unmute your mics is what I should be saying. I'm excited.
This is cool.
I'm calling people by accident. Hey, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for coming into the Zoom. Thank you all for just being here today. Thank you for your perseverance. And, you know, as we endure this time right now, Coronas. Darnell, Coronas. I want to say thank you to my guy, Darnell Walker, for coming through and being our first guest on this lecture series. My name is Professor TDV, as my students call me, but my name is Teresa Dowell-Vest, and I teach at Prairie View A&M University, and I'm just so excited to kind of flip this whole thing around, to turn around, you know, what all of us here on planet Earth are having to do, which is adjust. We are living in a time right now where we don't know how this coronavirus is going to play itself out. What we do know is that in the here and now, it's a trying time. So with having to shut down our classes and rethink how we approach our lessons as teachers as well as students, I decided to put together this lecture series because I think in the first week of moving our film production classes online, it wasn't gonna make it. For me, I'm hands-on, our students are engaged, they like to participate fully, and to just sit around and have conversations over Zoom or, you know, GroupMe or whatever the platform, you know, Google Chats or whomever, there's something missing. And so what I decided to do is I decided to reach out to my friends and colleagues in the industry that my students are striving to be a part of, to see if I can entice and inspire these young people to go ahead and close your mics, guys, because I think what's happening now is I got a couple of text messages that the live feed just shows people's names on the screen because folks are kind of playing with their mics and stuff. So go ahead and kill your mics with the exception of Darnell. All right, cool. Thank y'all so much. I asked my friends to just kind of come through and give us, you know, a smooth 30 minutes to inspire my students, and not just my students, some of my colleagues have their students coming in and just give us some time and inspire us and really change this construct for us so that we still finish the semester with an engaging experience and something that the students can feel like is lasting and impactful. So let me just quickly explain what this series is going to look like from now until April 21st. Every Tuesday, Thursday, which is typically when I teach my classes, every Tuesday, Thursday, I've invited 3 guests. Today we have 2 because I still had another assignment with my 2 o'clock class that I just want to kind of talk to them about. So I didn't book a person there, but from the top of the half hour to the bottom of the half hour, we have a very particular format where in the first 5 minutes, we'll introduce the guest. The guest will tell us who they are, where they're from, what do they do. And then to tie us all together, because we are kind of in the same thing, this mess together, I'm going to ask that person, how has this pandemic affected them, their work, their sense of self-care, their well-being, their mental state, their physical state, and just take a couple minutes to kind of tell us how you're faring during this pandemic. And then finally, not finally, I mean, the meat and potatoes of the whole thing, for about 10, 15 minutes, the guests will have an opportunity to teach us a thing. And it could be anything. It could be tied to what they actually do in the industry. It could be something that they just picked up, just learn how to crochet. Well, today, you know what? We're gonna talk about knowing Darnell, you know what? I wouldn't doubt it because this dude is like the Forrest Gump of my circle of friends. He ends up everywhere. He shows up everywhere. He'll take a picture of somebody. He's just kind of hanging out with them. Like, how do you even know Quincy Jones like that? And then, yeah. So whatever they're moved to share with us. And then the students who are in the chat will have an opportunity to do a 10-minute Q&A with our guests. And so we'll allow them to just kind of, ask questions. I will say, students, as much as I'm excited about all of our guests and how all of our guests could effectively change your lives with one phone call and hire you for something and kind of move the needle for you, this is not the shoot your shot forum. I know. And if you know anything about me, I will take every opportunity to shoot my shot. But because, we're going to have quite a few people in the chat, I think any individual person saying, hey, I would like for you to know this particular thing about me, it will just suck up all the time. So what I'm doing at PVAMU TV, PVAMUTV.org, which is our website for our TV network, I'm going to create a page for this. And all the students who are in the group chat, in the forum here that's participating in the class, your name will be on that page and it'll be a clickable link, and you'll have one URL that you can contribute that Darnell and all the future guests can click on that and go wherever you want them to go, whether it's your revised LinkedIn page or if you have a website that you want them to visit. That's your shot. That's where you'll be able to shoot your shot. And then the final, 5 minutes is just a wrap up. Okay. So I spent a little extra time today kind of explaining how it's going to go. I probably won't go into that again for the rest of the guests. I'm going to give Darnell some extra time this morning. So we'll have a little bit of extra time with him if he can muster it as well. I know he's kind of busy this morning doing all his things. But that said, let's get right into it. Good morning, Darnell.
All right. Where are we starting? With how I'm feeling.
He said, what we doing? Just introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and what do you do in the world?
Right on. So Darnell Walker. I am now in New York City, the epicenter of the coronavirus, apparently. Hiding out in the Bronx right now by Yankee Stadium. I'm from Charlottesville, Virginia, though. I just moved back to New York, but I just moved back to the country. I was living in South Africa for the last couple of years. And I'm trying not to lose my mind in everything that's going on. I'm a very social person. I travel. I started a travel company. I was traveling like once a month, had to cancel many trips so far. And here we are. Right now I'm on the Blues Clues writing team at a company called 9 Story. So we created Blues Clues back in the 90s. So maybe some of you watched. And now we've just rebooted it and we have Blues Clues and You. So we have a new host, same show, new host, everything else is the same. And I'm also I'm freelancing on a few other shows here and there. One at the same company, the name hasn't been released yet, but it's going to be a pretty dope show that I hope a lot of you really get into. And podcast, theater, radio theater, doing it all, doing whatever I can write that's what I'm doing. And I've been a writer my entire life, I'd say, but growing from there, I knew Teresa many years ago when I was just writing in high school, and that really inspired me to go into like theater and television and film. And before that, it was like poetry and maybe some small little one-off things, and it's really just grown from there. So I've used that time to kind of just grow. and figure out where I can put my feet in the door. Yeah. I think you muted. Oh, do I just keep talking? I don't know. You muted. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay. Yeah, I had, and then it came up on the screen. It's like, you are muted. I was because I muted it because it kept
I saw
flashing
your
to me, and
mouth
I was
move.
like,
I'm like, wait a minute. What did you try to say?
And so Charlottesville, yeah, I've known Darnell for a long time. People have asked me because I put out there the whole the keeper of the Rooster Crow. You want to take like 30 seconds to explain what that is?
Oh my God. So I was God, you know that was like 22 years ago. So 22 years ago.
Oh God.
Jesus Christ. So Teresa directed the play Seven Guitars by August Wilson, which is one of his greater works. And I did the sound for it. So I'm sitting in the sound booth, and you know, after you've seen a play about 400 times, it's still good, but you've seen it. And you get up there, your eyes start closing, and there's a part in there where the rooster has to crow.
Had to crow.
And the scene's going, and I'm asleep. I fall asleep in the sound booth, and I just keep hearing, yeah, the rooster crow.
The actors were on stage waiting for the cue.
On stage just waiting for the rooster. I'm like, oh shit. So I wake up and just hit the button, the rooster crow all late.
Every night. And it became a game. It became a game because every night it was like, when that rooster gonna crow?
Oh my God. Oh, but that was such a great time. Oh, it was such a good play though.
Yeah.
And that's what really got me into August Wilson. Like, I love August Wilson's work now. I'm so glad Denzel's bringing a lot of it to the screen, so a lot more people can access it. But
absolutely,
good stuff.
How's the pandemic affecting you and your work and your well-being?
My work, not so much. Is actually helping with my creativity and with finding time to do the projects that I need to work on for myself. You know, like when we were able to go outside, I spent way too much time outside. Like, I would procrastinate by going to the park or walking down the street or whatever, hanging out with friends, and that would just pull me away from the work I should have been doing. So now that I'm stuck in the house and on house arrest or whatever this is, I actually find the time to write the scripts that I need to write the premises, the treatments. But also now, because I'm still working full time, like, we haven't shut down. We still got to create these cartoons and our shows. We're still working full time, like every day. But I can wake up at 9:58 to start work at 10 o'clock. And then between that, I can sit here, like, I'll take a lunch break and I can sit here and actually type up the projects that I need to type up, which is cool. My well-being, though, on the other hand, is not so great. Like, I mean, I'm good, but I need human interaction. And I need, you know, it's like, where are the people? And so I really need this to end pretty soon. The skies are usually blue. I heard it was like 84 degrees the other day in Charlottesville. And I'm like, that's perfect weather to be outside at a cookout, but can't go outside to the cookout. And
can't even have the cookout. Oh
my God. Like, I'm just like, what do I need to do? And at this point, I'm pretty sure that I've had it. I'm pretty sure that it has come through. The other day I was sitting here and I was eating something, and I'm like, I know I seasoned this food. I know, and I realized I couldn't taste or smell nothing. And I was on a conference call with the people at work, and they were like, oh, that's a symptom. And I'm like, oh. So I ran to the kitchen and opened up a jar of garlic, and I'm smelling it. I couldn't smell anything. And I was like, oh God, I got it. And it just came and went. And the doctor was like, yeah, don't come in unless you're dying. So you probably have it. And unless you can't breathe, just go ahead and stay home. And that was it.
Okay. Well, right. I'm glad you seem like you're doing all right.
I'm cool, I got food. I'm gonna get back. I got beans. I cooked some beans last night.
Oh my God. Well, I'm gonna mute my mic, Lord. Right. I'm gonna mute my mic. Tell us, teach us something.
Teach us something, right? All right. So I don't even know. All right. So so this is how I got, like, most of my career at this point has happened by accident or on a fluke, or I had to hustle my way in or something, right? So I got into the business. I just finished my degree. And I was working at a school, I was working at a university, I felt like it was in Charlottesville. And I don't know if any of you really know Charlottesville, but I just could not be there at this time in my life. And I knew that I really wanted to get back into the industry. So I created, I found this job online for casting. Never done casting before in my life. And I'm just like, it can't be that hard. They were looking for a casting executive to run the offices in New York before they got there for a very popular reality show. So I'm like, it can't be that bad. So I created this resume that said I had 5 years of experience in casting, and sent it off. Got the call the next day and they were like, hey, we love your resume. We don't even need to interview you. Could you be in New York in 2 days? I'm like, yeah, I can be in New York in 2 days. Ran casting for 2 weeks. They came up, so I did such a great job, asked me if I wanted to move to LA. Got to LA. When I got to LA, I drove out there and the job didn't exist. So they were like, yeah, we got rid of that job. I was like, in the last 3 days that it took me to drive out here? They're like, yeah, we're sorry about that. I wish there was something we can do, but here's $125. Good luck. And I'm like, you give me $125 check for, I just got an apartment, I got rent, I have a car, I have gas, I got all this stuff. They were like, yeah, I don't know what else we can do. Luckily, I had that same resume passed it to my homeboy who got me a job in scripting and casting. So then I helped run it was 4 of us on a team that did, so if any of you are actors, every year, most of the networks have a diversity showcase. And so you have ABC, NBC, TBS, probably CBS, they have these diversity showcases where they bring about 15 actors in who come from very diverse backgrounds. Usually they determine it by race, gender, sexuality, and so forth. And so it was 4 of us that ran that for ABC, and it was such a cool job. It helped me meet people in the industry, but at the same time, I still wanted to be a writer. So I kept writing, kept networking in there, and then that led me to more and more jobs. And what happened? That job ended, and I decided, hey, I just want to travel the world for a little bit. And so I went out traveling. And this was around the time that Freddie Gray was killed. And so, and I had a trip planned the following week to go to Europe for a festival. And so before I left, a friend says, oh, what are you going to Norway for? Are you trying to seek asylum? And I'm like, that's not a bad idea, actually. So I grabbed my cell phone and my camera had like this little bootleg camera that was half broken, and just hit Europe with a few friends and went to about 5 countries and just asked people there, like, hey, Black people, because Black people are being killed in the US, would you let us into your country with open arms and accept us here because we fear for our lives back home? And I was just asking questions, I didn't really think much of it. And I got home and I had all this footage, and a friend says, you should look into making this into a film. I was like, all right, well, teach me how to edit. And so I gave him $100. He taught me in a day how to do basic editing. I did it, put it together, and started submitting it to festivals. And festivals around the world started accepting it. And someone said, oh, you're a filmmaker now. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll take that. I guess so. And that's how I got into filmmaking. Filmmaking led me to South Africa. I got over there for a film festival. And I was there for about 15 minutes and realized that this was the place that I had to be. I had to live. Found an apartment, went back to LA, got my clothes and my computer, and came back and lived there. I was there for 2.5 years, almost 3 years, and collecting stories just to tell, meeting people, having such a great time. And while I was there, I had never thought about children's television before. I never thought about creating for children. I wrote a children's book years ago. That was pretty good. I enjoyed it, and did that, put it out. And someone said, you should turn this children's book into a script and submit it to the Sesame Street workshop. And I'm like, Sesame Street, yeah, okay. it will only take me about 20 minutes, 30 minutes to do. Why not? The worst they can say is no. So I submitted it not thinking I would get in. And I was about to move. I was actually leaving South Africa that year. This is 2018. And I was moving to, I was going to move to the south of France. And while I was in Europe looking for a place, I got the call from Sesame saying, hey, we want you, come on over. If you want to come, you've been accepted into this program. Now, I was never coming back to the States, at least not until the current administration was out. And so I had to think, I was like, but I can't turn Sesame Street down. And so here I go, moving to New York, sleeping on couches, hit a friend up. Actually, no, I just put it on Facebook. I was like, hey, if anybody has a couch, I need a couch to sleep on for 2 months, let me know. And my now friend, his name's Chris. Chris was like, hey, you can come and sleep on my couch. I'd charge you $100 a week. All right, bet. Came to New York and made Sesame Street work, got into children's television, realized how much I loved it. And here I am. So what happened there, I think one of the most important things that I've learned along the way was networking. Like once I got into one thing, it was just, okay, I know what I need. I know who I need to talk to. Even though casting isn't where I want to be, I know how to find the people who write. And so that's what I did. Me and my homeboy Kirk, who's now like a producer at Marvel, he's doing plenty of shows on Netflix and ABC, NBC, CBS, whatever. He's doing really big things. Like we used to sit at Denny's at 2 o'clock in the morning because he was managing a psychic hotline, and that was the only time he could meet. So we would sit there and write and go over scripts. And then he got put on. So it was like, networking and like, Kirk, who do I need to talk to? And so just talking to people every step along the way, knowing where I wanted to be and networking. Now I'm in children's media, and the way children's media works and children's content development, like it's such a small world, especially if you are, especially if you're Black, but it's such a small world that it's all about networking. Like, I don't think I've sent a resume to anyone in a while. It's mostly now just, oh yeah, I heard about your work. We'd love for you to come over. Someone hit me up on what's the thing, Twitter. And it was like, hey, I see you write for children's television. I'd love to talk to you about some projects we're working on. And it's a really big deal. And I'm like, okay, yeah, absolutely. And so it's all about networking. And so I think the thing to take away is know what you want to do and always work toward that, no matter what. Like, just get your foot in the door and then figure out how to work toward that. And don't be afraid to veer off the path. Like, South Africa wasn't in my plans. I had no idea why I was even there. Like, I did the film, went over there and was there like, do I even make film anymore? And then realized that I was there to collect stories and all of that. And so what I do now is, like, I always challenge people to, like, your LinkedIn is very important. I always, my friend Gary, that's his quote. He says, your LinkedIn is important. LinkedIn is one of the most important tools now that I have. And so I challenge people to reach out to at least like 3 people a week to say, hey, I'd love to have a call with you, or I'd love to sit down with you. I'd love to talk about what you do, because I want to do that. And like 100% of the time for me so far, it's been like, yeah, I'd love to have a coffee with you. Oh yeah, just call me at this time. I love to talk to you. People love sharing their stories and telling you how they got to where they are. Maybe they, for whatever reason, maybe they want to use you for something, or you can help make them money, but you'll make money too, or you'll get closer to your dream, or what have you.
Man, you just inspired me, Darnell. I know we've known each other for a long, long time. I mean, I'm gonna go back to this day.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, who's that kid? Oh,
that might be about the time
tomorrow.
when I first met you, way back when. I'm not gonna embarrass you with any other pictures. Maybe one more. Maybe I don't know what you were doing right there.
Ain't no telling.
Dreaming.
I don't know what. Oh, I ain't seen that picture. Oh my God. I ain't seen that shirt in 25 years.
And what I've learned about you this whole time is, go ahead, students, and open your mics. I'm going to open it up to you all. what I've learned about you, Darnell, is that you will figure out a way to win. I don't care where you are or what the scenario is. It seems like the greatest thing that you've told us today was something I was kind of hoping you would tell us, because it's like one of your superpowers is your networking ability, your ability to get into any room and to belong there.
Mhm.
And so students, as you open up your mics and you scratch on your mics and all that kind of good stuff to get yourself in position, that's fine. Go ahead. Let's throw it out there. Anyone want to go ahead and start the questions for Darnell?
T. Hayeswood.
Okay.
Howdy.
Hello, Mr. Walker. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. And I want to go to film school. Now, not just any film school. I'm shooting for the top. I'm talking USC. I'm talking Tisch. I'm talking things like that. And I was looking for some great advice on what I should be doing my final year of college to ensure my acceptance.
What do you want to do in film school? Like what track? Like
Directing and TV and film production, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, internships are important, like, especially if you're in your senior year, like that's the time to start looking for a lot of these companies in New York, a lot of the ones in LA, now it's kind of hard for you, but internships are big. And just like, even when I was in school, I didn't go to film school. I went to school for communication and culture, something completely unrelated. But in my summer times, I would hit directors up and producers up and say, hey, can I come work for you? And just to learn. And so that's how I remember, that's how I met Robert Teresa, Rob in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Teresa told me about him. She was like, yeah, guys, I know some guys out here that have a company. And it was a 2-guy company. And I just said, hey, if you could use any help, I'd love to help out for the summer. I don't need any pay. I just want to learn. And I learned more in like a week on set than I did in a film program that I went into. So just finding, like, hitting people up and, doing all the research. Some of the smaller teams, you will learn a lot more because it's only a couple of you and you got to do everything. So just reaching out to as many people as you can. Like I said, going on LinkedIn and looking up like hashtags like director, producer, film director, Twitter, looking up hashtags, Craigslist, people are always shooting films and looking for production assistants.
Yeah, I think one thing that a lot of times, especially students who are just coming out of undergrad or maybe sometimes even out of grad school, depending on where you are, looking for a big name person to be that way into your career or into your success doesn't necessarily need to be the case. I mean, as Darnell said, if you go on Craigslist or if you go on different trade platforms, industry platforms where they have casting calls and different things. Here in Texas, there are, if you go to the Texas Film Commission website, to the Houston Film Commission website, there are all sorts of casting calls, crew calls, all sorts of ways for you to connect with people who are simply doing the work. Look, you can almost do it from anywhere at this point, the way technology is set up, and shoot something short, get it into a film festival for visibility. As Darnell was saying, we were filming stuff in LA with people whose name you may never know, and still have been able to travel the world and screen our work and find ourselves doing exciting things, productive things. So T. Hayes, you are well on your way. In about 5-10 years, you will be on this call, inspiring students. I have no doubt. Keep networking, keep pushing, keep plugging, that sort of thing.
That was my second question, was about networking. I feel like that's one of the most important things and one of my weakest skills. So I was looking for advice on improving networking.
Yeah, I think you just, it's all about like challenging yourself. Like, I saw this quote a couple months ago that was like, the price you pay for learning and for achieving your dreams is embarrassment and discomfort. And sometimes you have to put yourself in a position to look crazy or look, or be vulnerable or just be open. Like I said, challenge yourself to reach out to, I say, 3 people a week on LinkedIn or online, or and just to say, hey, you know, I'd love to learn what you do. Find directors and say, hey, I'd love to talk to you about what you do and how you do it. People, and everybody's free now. Everybody has time. So now is the perfect time to be like, hey, I know you're not really working on anything outside of your house. Can I just get 30 minutes of your time to just ask you a few questions and write down like 30 questions you want to know, and just ask them as many as you can in the time they give you. But you just have to challenge yourself to just reach out to people. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll be doing it. Because once you get to like these schools, you know, it's all about networking. Like you'll be in school with 200 other people trying to get the exact same job you're trying to get. And it's not going to be about what you learned in school, to be about who you met and who you know. And
Awesome. Let's get another question for Darnell.
I have a question. Hi, my name is Peyton. Like what motivates you to stay consistent? Because I know when you're working in the creative world, being consistent is one of the main things. Like, so I know you probably get a lot of no's more than you get yes, but how do you not let those no's basically like make you rethink like your life or what you want to do?
Yeah, I think I keep some really good people around who are also like constantly working. And so it's always trying to make sure that I'm worthy of being in this circle of friends. So it's like we're basically accountability partners.
Y'all are challenging each other. Basically.
Right. So like, or, you know, like and they may be in a completely different field. Like one of my closest friends, he's an opera singer, and some of my other close friends also do opera, but I hang around them and they talk about like the things they're working on. And I'm like, I really need to pick it up. I need to get these projects out of here because they're doing stuff. I need to do stuff too. It is a lot of no's, but there are a lot of yeses. And then you just have to know your own work and just say, you know, this story needs to be told somehow. So there's plenty of time. I got like 20 things that I need to write that I haven't even started. I just have to keep forcing myself to just sit down and do them, or get to this stage and then pass it on. But then, you know, that circle of friends is important. And being around people who do what you do, you got to be places where people understand who you are. You got to find like your tribe and find the people who understand your work as well. And those people will keep pushing you too. Like, you know, my Facebook and my social media, like every once in a while, I just put something up there just to make sure I can still write, you know.
Well, I need to find those people. Okay. I need to get that going. I have one more question. Do you, when you're writing and when you're creating, do you fear of controversy? Like, say you have a topic that you really want to talk about, but you know everyone might not agree with you, or it might kind of step on some people's toes, or even, you know, just how do you deal with that?
Yeah, no. So I just finished reading this book by Edward Danticat, and it's called Create Dangerously. And it basically says, you know, if people wanted good things written about them, they would have behaved better. And so I just believe that wholeheartedly. Like, I'm gonna write about whatever I want to write about, family, friends, whatever. And if they don't like it, then they should have been a better person in my story. You know what I mean? Which, you know, being Black is tough, you know, because we got parents and we got grandparents. Like my grandmother was like, you know, before she died, I was like, you know, I want to go and do some family research. She's like, don't go looking at anything until I die. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what's over there. And because you don't know what you'll find. But it's like, the story has to be told, especially like if it's a story you want to tell, then it's worth telling. Yeah. And you can't really cut corners, because people, like, you've seen movies that you're like, this movie ain't even that good, or this actor isn't even that good, because we don't really believe it. And people can tell when your work isn't authentic and it isn't great. But they can tell when it's the truth. And so I think that's where you have to tell the truth all the time. That's what makes a good writer and a good storyteller.
Your grandmother was one of the wisest women of Charlottesville.
Thank you.
The page.
I'm telling you, yes, God.
Man.
For sure.
I'm going to give a person one more question, and today and through till the end of the series, you get one good question. Everyone, I would love to give you multiple questions, but because we're going to have so many people in the chat, just limit your questions to one if you don't mind. And also, after you ask your question, I'm going to mute your mic, so don't unmute the mic because it just kind of changes the screen and it causes all kinds of things. And so, just a few tech things. This is day one. Like, this is the first interview of day one, and we're working out the kinks. And this is awesome, you guys. I'm getting text messages from people saying, this is so awesome and just valuable, and I'm really excited and just so thankful to Darnell for being our guinea pig this morning. Go ahead, someone pop out there with one additional question, and then we're going to wrap up.
Okay, I have a question. Hey y'all, I'm Danae Davis. I have like this. Okay, first off, I have way too many dreams, but I do want to ask you, as far as when it comes to like the music industry and when it comes to film and like music videos, like how is film school like important? Especially if I want to go through like creative direction and become a director for those things. Like, is there a specific school I would have to go to? Like, would film school be the right route, or would like another like a writing school or things like that? I'm kind of confused on that part.
That's a great question. I didn't go to film school. I didn't. So, and it's funny because when you get into the industry, it's been from what I've experienced, there's been this debate where there are people who went to film school and there are people who didn't. There are people who learned by finding people and working on set, starting as a PA and moving their way up. And so I don't think film school is necessary for everyone, but I think it's a great. I think film school is a great thing to do if you want to learn that way. People learn differently, and I think film school is great for people who learn in that way. Like, I have friends who went to film school at Howard, friends who went to USC, friends who went to Tisch and New School, and who are doing great things. And I have film friends who never went to any film school or learned anything except working on the set. And they also have the same awards. They have Emmys and they have Oscars and they have this and that. And so it's all about how you learn and how you want to do it. I think either way, if you go to film school or don't, you still need to reach out to people and work on and find a set to work on and figure it out. Like, the film program I actually went into, I didn't go to film school, but I went to Howard for grad school, and they had a film program. And so so I went to their screenwriting program. I took the screenwriting first because I knew I wanted to be a writer. So I took the screenwriting first and then dropped out of that program after I learned everything I needed to learn, and then went into where I got my degree in. And so that's what some people do, it's all about how you do it. I know plenty of people who went to film school and took directing as the first class and then was like, I'm done. I ain't paying for this no more. But that's how they wanted to do it. So it's all about how you learn and how you want to go about it. But I think it's still important to reach out to people and learn outside of the classroom as well.
Yeah, I think the thing that grad school does more than almost anything, in my opinion, I mean, if you go to USC, you go to NYU, you go to Yale, those grad programs, whether it's in film or theater, what have you, yeah, they do tend to move the needle forward for you a little bit because of the pedigree and the nature of the school. But what grad school, especially when you start getting into that specialized, I'm here for cinematography, or I'm here for screenwriting, or I'm here for directing, is it helps you identify your tribe, the people who are going to be in the trenches with you, because all of you are in your career at the beginning, at the start line. This is where you, as a writer, find that one person who might be a budding director, who also is a roommate with a budding editor, and you end up forming, what becomes the germ of a production company. If you look at people like Spike Lee or Quentin Tarantino, Ethan Hawke, Tim Burton, a lot of these people found the people that they have continuously worked with when they were in school. There are people that Spike Lee is still working with from his days at both Morehouse and NYU. So a lot of times what grad school will do for you more so than, or in addition to the actual subject matter, is just help you find your tribe. Later in the series, we're going to have Erica Ringor come on as one of our guests. And I found her when I was in school at Cal State Long Beach for graduate school. And, we've been good friends since and have worked together. And, on days where we were bored in LA, it was just like, girl, let's shoot something. And that's, I think, one of the things you just can't underestimate in terms of the value of grad school is finding your tribe. Does that mean you have to go to grad school to find your tribe? As we said earlier with T. Hayes' question, it might be a matter of identifying some folks locally who are, just constantly shooting stuff. And that tribe coming together, gelling, and then it becomes a regular producing organization. I think for my money and all the places I've been, probably even more so than Los Angeles, Atlanta has proven to have a great community for that, where young, especially young Black filmmakers find each other and they just hunker down in the trenches and just shoot stuff until you finally look up and you're Will Packer or, you're other people in Atlanta shooting films. Okay. We're gonna wrap up.
But to go with that, even recently, I found out that Barry Jenkins, he, we all love the way his films look. They're Black people are beautiful in his movies. Yeah. And the guy who does that is his roommate from college. And the guy who makes everyone look good in Barry Jenkins' movies. And that's where he found him, in grad school. So
no one shoots Black people like Barry Jenkins and Ava DuVernay.
Oh my God. I'm telling you, it's amazing. It changed the game. Now everyone's trying to do it. And it's like, don't forget to tell the good story though. Make sure your story's good while these people look good.
Yeah. We've seen that too. We've seen that too. All right, Darnell, we're going to wrap up. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, both here on the Zoom chat as well as on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're going to keep this going.
Find me on LinkedIn if you need to. I'm on there.
Find Darnell on LinkedIn. I will definitely put into all of your e-courses a link to Darnell's LinkedIn. I will also, on the page that Darnell will have access to on PVAMU TV, where he can access you all, I will also have a clickable link for Darnell to his LinkedIn page. And certainly you can follow him on his social media outlets, both on Twitter and Instagram. And they've been sent out ad nauseum in prep for this. But again, we'll make sure that everyone has access to all the resources that you need to be able to reach Mr. Walker, Darnell Walker of the Charlottesville Walkers. The Charlottesville Walkers. Hey brother, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love you. I'm so proud of you. Anytime you want to come to Houston or play in our sandbox out in Prairie View, feel free. We welcome Bethune-Cookman and Howard folk to the Hill. Yeah. And I'll talk to you soon, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. See y'all later.
All right. Y'all, thank y'all. And we're going to sign out. And I might fumble this a little bit because there's so many pieces to this, but all right. Bye, y'all.